evening, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And welcome to our spoiler-filled review of episode 5. I think it's episode 5. The Vigil of The Stand. I think it's 5. Everybody hold on to your breaths. 6, episode 6. Because what's counting? We don't even know what day it is. So this is going to be our spoiler review of The Vigil. So you've been warned. We finally got Trash Can Man. We've been talking about him for 3 episodes now.
5 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to hear your thoughts on it before, as somebody who's not completely steeped into the book as I am.
So of the episode or
Of specifically Trash Can Man's.
So I know that there's questions around Ezra Miller or whatever, but I really like him as a performer. Mm-hmm. And so when he shows up and he's completely off the rails more than normal, I thought it was cool, performance-wise.
Okay.
The quick introduction for me was enough because I knew, like I said, we've been talking about him. We know he's a pyro. We know all that stuff.
Yeah.
So him being introduced and the cool little scene that they did at the beginning with him blowing up a silo or
it's like an oil refinery
or something. Yeah. Him blowing that up and jerking off to the explosion was oh, okay. He's completely crazy.
Yeah.
The character itself is completely crazy. And then when they got him to Vegas, to the penthouse, to be with Flag, my issue there was he never comes down from it. He never came down from that craziness. Now, he might be, that's maybe how he's supposed to be, but he never was aware of where he was at.
Right.
And
which kind of leads you to wonder how he's going to function enough to be able to go find
and
what he's been sent off to find.
And for me, at least, the only little caveat to that is he's so enamored with Flag that he'll do whatever Flag wants him to do, however he gets it done.
Yeah.
So, but I love the craziness. I love Ezra Miller as the actor in this particular role. That one scene was the one that kind of pulled me out a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I wanted you to go first because they dedicate a huge part of the book, or King dedicates a huge part of the book to Trash Can Man's backstory and and kind of his dissension into insanity. He kind of just shows up with half his face burnt, and you don't know how he got there, which is fine. You see him blowing up the oil refinery. Okay, you get that. That was in the book. It was a much bigger oil refinery, but okay. I think that's actually how he gets his face burnt. He spends... I don't really think it's kind of laid out in the book, but he spends quite a while in the desert going from... because he's somewhere in the north of the Midwest, right? And then kind of comes down. So, and us living in Arizona understand how much desert you need to cross to actually get to Vegas from the Midwest. So he spends, a considerable amount of time trying to get to, he calls it Cibola, which is Vegas, the lost city of gold, I think is what Cibola is. So that furthers his insanity. So then he gets to Vegas, but he is a functioning human being. He actually in Vegas seems to kind of thrive. They give him some jobs. Flag kind of trusts him, makes him one of his little chosen group.
Right.
He's going out and finding stuff out in the
desert. He does kind of do that with him in this episode. Kind of has him as his chosen circle kind of thing, gives him a special mission kind of thing. Yeah, he does do that.
But then he gets slighted at one point. Some, good-natured ribbing by, these people who have accepted him as friends. As friends do, they'll, and he kind of, they make a comment about, him being a pyro or something like that, and it sets him off. He's back to his childhood when he was being teased all the time and all that.
Right.
That sets him off. He goes off to find the bomb, and spoilers, he's gonna go find a bomb, and
We said it was spoiler event.
yeah, and his exposure to the radiation causes him to just completely go over the edge, right? Because now he's basically just, falling apart. I mean, he's completely irradiated. So all of that got packed into the 5 minutes that we got him.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. We love Ezra Miller. I think that his performance for what we saw was good.
Yeah.
I agree that kind of part with him and Flag in the penthouse was kind of almost over the top for the situation.
Yeah. It makes Trash Can Man completely unrelatable.
Yeah.
And at least it sounds like with him in the book, he could be at least you can understand how he gets there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In this, he has no redeeming quality outside of he's a thing to go get the MacGuffin. That's all he is in this particular story.
Absolutely.
And that's again the byproduct that we talked about last week of doing this in which I've learned 9 episodes and not 8.
Oh, okay.
But the byproduct of doing it so quickly, you don't have any time to have any sympathy for him.
Right.
And you need to have some sympathy for him so when he does completely go off the rails and comes back with a bomb and he's leaking, and he's falling apart, that you actually feel for him when he gets there. And right now, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed because I thought I was really looking forward to that character and knowing how crazy he is.
Yeah.
And I was looking forward to that. And he's just he's just the thing to go get the thing right now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
sad.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how I felt too. But I was like, okay, again, so much of the book is dedicated to him. Maybe I was just emotionally invested because of that.
Yeah. And I think maybe that might be a little bit of my point too, or at least my view is that we've talked about him a little bit, and so I kind of had to put him on a higher expectation level than maybe some of the other characters and stuff.
Right. But other than that, I liked this episode. I liked the changes that they made I was concerned about how they were going to get Tom out of Vegas, because that part is so different. And I was like, how exactly are they getting him out?
But that makes complete sense.
The
way they have him climb in the dead body truck after figuring out the word run means run. Like run away, which I love the explanation for that too. I really appreciated that setup with Tom.
Yeah.
That he's smart enough and squirrely enough to kind of I can't read, but I know this person can read, so she can read this word for me, and this word matches this word I got from somebody I trust. So he's able to put that all together. So I really appreciate that. I thought that was really well handled. Yeah.
And it ties back to when Nick said he could surprise you right when they were getting ready to set him off.
Yeah.
That he could surprise you, and there you go. He put all those pieces together and figured out it's time to go.
And that's also a trait for some people in that spectrum.
Right.
They can't necessarily do the A to B to C, but they can go A to Z to F to D to C, and do that. And so they're still intellectually enough capable to do that. But I just thought that whole thing, he knows what he's supposed to be doing, and yet because he's so naive, I guess is the best word, Flag can't find him. Flag can find anybody, but he can't find Tom at all. And and it was,
I think it's the way it is described in the book is more like innocence, right? He's but and that whole scene was like when Flag was like, I got it. I know who this person
Yeah.
is that I need to go. And that was, I was tense.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
and I know what happens. I know Tom has to get out because there's other things that happen with him down the line. But I was like, oh.
Well, but I love the setup with that. So the setup with that scene is the other one, the lady gets caught.
The judge,
The
Judge Ferris.
she gets caught.
Right.
And Bobby Terry shoots her, and they bring the body to Flag.
Right.
And the scene with Bobby Terry and Flag, Flag's just looking for an apology.
Yeah.
And Bobby is too headstrong and cocksure to give it to him.
Right. And a little too dumb, I guess, to understand, because Flag is actually painting him into a corner.
Yeah.
He's telling him, he basically at the beginning, he's kind of telling him, you need to apologize. And when he says sorry, he's like, now what exactly are you apologizing for? Don't just say the words. What are you apologizing for? And then, kind of baits him into, you don't really have anything to apologize for. And then now he's just in a corner. And so his answer to that is just to flip him off and run.
Yeah.
And that's not going to get you anywhere.
I want to get into a theory that I had about Flag before this all happened, but Bobby flipping him off and running and whatever, I felt like there was, now again, we've talked about this, I don't know the story backwards and forwards like she does. So in what they presented, engaging in the story that they are telling, I thought that there was a bomb inside the body bag.
Oh.
And it was his attempt to be the new king.
Oh, okay.
That's how I took it, because he made a point of not listening to his instructions and actually killing her, knowing that she was important.
Yeah.
Specifically bringing her to him, not apologizing, kind of spiting him in his face. And then when he leaves, he locks the door.
Yeah.
And then he runs off. So he knows that, at least the way they were presenting it, I felt like there was something that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, my theory with Flag up until this point was he's not, real is not the right word, corporeal maybe. He's not physically there.
Right.
He's able to influence people, to kind of talk them into doing things, and using sleight of hand and some maybe.
And he can be in places when he's two places at once.
So
basically.
he's not. He's more spiritual than he is physical.
Yeah.
And so because he tried to go after Mother Abigail when she was out in the forest, but he doesn't he could physically choke her out in the middle of the forest and nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
Because she's 100 years old.
Right.
But he never puts his hands on her, and he never he blows some wind at her and some crows attack her, but nothing really happens. So I was like, he's not real.
Yeah.
He's just an influencer, making Lloyd do stuff, making everybody else do stuff for him.
Right.
And then they get on the elevator. Bobby gets on the elevator and they start riding down, and all of a sudden Flag is in the elevator and proceeds to rip his heart out.
Right.
Okay, now he's real. Okay, never mind. So you have that whole tension building with Bobby in that scene, and then the physicalness of the scene in the elevator, and everybody's in Vegas's reaction to the horror of what's going on.
You have been having gladiator fights and ripping people's heads off, and this is what you all stopped to
and
watch?
the only thing I could think of is they all freaked out because they haven't seen him. They haven't seen Flag use
his poop.
His is actually like his what we thought he is actually who he is.
They're all afraid of him, but they're not quite sure why, or they haven't seen any proof of that, and now now it's real. Yeah.
Now it's real to them.
Yeah.
And you have all of that lead up, and then you have the lead up into Tom getting into the truck.
Right.
And so that was like a really, as much as we've complained about the pacing of everything, that's a really good of speeding along to kind of keep the tension cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking and going along. And then you get done with that, you get Tom in the truck, and then you go back to Boulder, and Harold and Nadine's plan is coming to fruition with making a bomb, and they're going to do this vigil because Lady Abigail's off, and she's on
Mother Abigail. Lady Abigail works.
Did I say Mother Abigail? she's kind of a lady. We'll give her an AOA, whatever. But they all decide to do a vigil, and and Nadine and Harold decide to put a bomb inside the house.
Yep.
Which is great planning. Like, it's like they are smart enough to understand that everybody's going to be together.
Yeah.
We can get everybody in one shot. We don't have to worry about it. And then you have the tension of Franny
Yeah.
going and finally figuring out, like, she maybe not, maybe she's not necessarily psychic, but she
Right.
has an intuition to her. And she even points it out. Like, if I'm right, I'm right.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I'm just the crazy pregnant chick.
Yeah, with pregnancy brain or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, she has known Harold, you know,
All of
has
his life.
known
Yeah.
him, or, you know, in his eyes, known of him. Yeah, for most of both of their lives. So she's, of anyone, she's the one that's gonna, not being psychically connected somehow, is going to see the change in him and kind of know this is how he was before and this is how he is now. So she would be the one. And that's all, that whole scene, that whole section is very different from what's in the book. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here with Franny in the basement now finding the bomb? In the book, she finds it earlier, or at least pieces of it. And then he locks her, you know,
in the basement.
In the basement. And so that was, you know, tense. And again, even though you know what the story is, from like my point of view, I know what the story is. That was new and a twist. And so, you know, I was engaged. I was
You're engaging in the story that's being told.
I was engaged in the story that was being told. And how is she going to warn them now? And also the same thing with the Larry and Nadine scene, and then Joe. You finally learn that Joe can actually talk, and you know, and Nadine like takes the batteries out of his walkie and the plugs out of his bike, so he can't get there.
Because Nadine, they are presenting Nadine, like, for me, pitch perfectly. She really is a good person. She really wants to be a good person.
Yeah.
But she's got this thing pulling at her all the time. And that was the sorcery I'm talking about with Flag. Like, he has his claws in her so much that she can't get away from it.
Right.
And she's tried multiple times to get away from it.
Right. And that's what Joe says. Nadine and Mom Nadine are two different people.
Yeah.
Mom Nadine is the good, the kindergarten teacher, the good person.
Yeah.
And Nadine is Randall Flagg's wife, or baby mama, or whatever it is he wants to use her for.
I think that again, I don't know, so you don't have to tell me. But my personal theory on that is, she is also a thing to go get the thing. She's the mechanism to help eliminate Mother Abigail, however she can, and the council. Like, I feel like that's her only purpose, is to do that. And he doesn't really care about her, but he's using her and she's using Harold to get to this means, and she can't get away from it. She's trapped. It's an abusive relationship is really what it comes down to.
I could tell you what she is in the book, but
I want to see.
It's different, right? That may not be how it is in the book. May not be how they play it out in this series. So I will just not say anything.
That's what I'm talking about with the way they're presenting it in the show, engaging the story that they're telling. This is how I'm seeing it right now. Back to the conversation we were having about Trash Can Man. This is how it's being presented. Okay, cool. I can get with this. I like this. I like what they're doing. Overall, with the episode, I really like this episode because there's a ton of tension in it.
Yeah.
From the beginning all the way I love how the episode starts with him blowing up the refinery. We're going to go with refinery for right now.
Yeah.
Him blowing up the refinery. So it starts with the fireball.
Yeah.
And ends with the fireball at Mother Abigail's house.
Right. That's true.
Lady of Boulder. So you get both spectrums, but you also get, at the end, you also get, you see people flying through the flames, and so you have that kind of dual.
And Nick was standing at the piano when it blew up. So, and this was a much more current bomb. It had nails, and so
it was much more of a IED kind of
in the book, again, because it was written like in the early 70s, it was just a couple sticks of dynamite. They were duct taped or electrical taped together and connected to a thing that went off with the walkie-talkie. And this was much more something that today's audience can kind of identify with the nails and stuff, that it was meant to take out as many people as possible.
A little bit. I want one last little thing. Harold and Stu's conversation in the woods about why was it us, and was it completely random, or is it destiny? And Stu is kind of coming around to the idea that it's destiny, and Harold is still trying to wrestle with the idea of why does he get stuck with the woman he's always wanted to be with, but he can't be with her.
Yeah.
And him holding the gun to Stu's head while Stu is talking, and Stu never knows. Like that whole sequence is a nice little pause from all the tension that was going on earlier, but it's also super character building. Of one of the things we talked about a couple weeks ago was at some point in time we have to have a conversation about why is it us? Why is it, why are we the ones who got left? Why are we the ones who have to fight on?
Yeah, and that's natural. You would assume that people in that situation would have those thoughts. I think on a kind of a bigger scale, more of a 1,000-foot view down for Harold, he is, because of where he came from, he always felt misunderstood. He was so much better than everyone, and why didn't they just see that? Now, you might not get as much of that from the show as you did from the book,
right?
But I felt like it's also him trying to kind of come to grips with things were kind of going well for him in Boulder, but then there's this other thing that's causing him to screw everything up.
Yeah.
But and is like, it's kind of his internal conflict.
Yeah. As soon as Nadine put her nails into him and started pointing things out to him, that was the kind of the switch that flipped him.
Yeah. But he's almost having this conversation with himself about, am I being chosen, or is this all just super random? Was I born to be in this spot today doing the things that I'm doing, or and did Randall Flagg, put his finger on me when I was born or whatever, or was it all just a bunch of coincidence that got me to this point?
That's the same thing that I just say her name, Franny. She kind of tries to tap into that. We're trying to be better. Kind of kind of type. And I think she almost had him. Again, the way they presented it, it felt like she almost had him.
I think it was too late.
I think it was too late. Yeah. The die had been cast at that point in time and everything. But I just that internal conflict with Harold is, again, kind of maybe what's going on with everybody as a whole.
Yeah.
And I just loved how it was presented, of this quiet, dark moment of Harold trying one last time to kind of figure himself out. And I just thought that it was like, the more we talk about it, outside of that one scene in the penthouse with Trash Can Man and Flag, the more we talk about this episode, the more I'm liking what they did.
Yeah.
And like this, storytelling wise, I think this is probably their best episode.
Yeah.
And we got 3 left now.
Yeah.
And so 7,
8, 9. Yep.
Yeah. So this was 6. And so, we talked about the first couple of weeks. So we were like, I'm not really sure if this is going to whatever, but now that they're starting to build on all those blocks of the foundation that we had to have in the first 2 episodes. It's getting there. I still think she needs to be 18 or 20 episodes. But.
Yeah. And again, the first couple episodes more in depth with the characters would, like, Larry's character. I just feel like he's super one-dimensional to me.
Yeah.
And that's, that makes me sad because I really like his character in the book. And so, yeah, a little more diving into everybody,
Yeah.
who they are, and caring for them in the front end would just make this even better.
I think the only reason that we right now care for Franny is because she's pregnant.
Pregnant, yeah.
And the only reason we can't care for Tom is because he's special.
Yeah.
And
innocent and
yeah, you kind of you want to protect him.
Right.
And you want to protect her because she's bringing innocence into the world.
Right.
And so, but like everybody else, like I want to like Stu.
Yeah.
But Stu's just kind of there as a leader.
Yeah,
and,
that's
and
the
Glenn
way.
is the
Him
same
and
way.
Larry
And
both are just kind of
I liked
one-dimensional.
Tommy, one-eye deaf.
Nick.
I like Nick more than I like Stu or Larry or
Yeah.
anybody else. Like,
And I don't really like this version of Nick anywhere near as much as
That's fair.
I like him in the book, but just I don't know. He's much stronger in the book than he is. He's just I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but
well, it doesn't matter. He's dead.
Spoiler.
I said we talked about it earlier that he was standing at the bomb.
I know.
Jesus. Apparently, it was a good episode. We talked for 27 minutes about it. So let us know what you thought of this episode, The Vigil, episode 6 of The Stand, in the comments down below. Please be nice. Like this video and tell us how we did. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us. Hit the bell. Follow us on Instagram. All that stuff. Facebook, too. Sometimes Twitter. All the links are in the description down below. It's a terrible way to end this episode. We were solid till the last 30 seconds. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.